Good afternoon, everyone. Pat Bukta here, Executive Director of Austin, Texas Musicians, and we are coming to you live today to learn more about the changes coming in the pandemic unemployment assistance benefits that so many of us have relied upon to get through our devastating loss of employment this year. We're going to learn today about what's next, what you can do about it, and we'll talk about a new program that will put some money back into your pocket. And once again, we are proud to partner with Representative Lloyd Doggett and our partners with Workforce Solutions Capital Area in this effort. And we're going to get that information out to you guys in just a moment. But first, I would like to introduce to you Austin, Texas Musicians President, Nikia Reynoso. Nikia, let's learn a little more about what's going on the federal level, if we may.
I think we should do that. But first, I am going to start a watch party of this live stream on my personal page. And if you're watching at home, I would say you should start a watch party too. Boom, it's already done, just like that. And so, you know, there's a lot going on, obviously, in the relief world, and we've had a lot of progress with several things. The most recent thing that just came out just about an hour ago, or really now 2 hours, was that the City of Austin Economic Development Department have now announced that the applications for the SAVES money will be open beginning tomorrow for our music venues in town, which is a huge deal. We have been fighting for them to create the fund. They created the fund. They were fighting for them to get the fund out as soon as possible, make sure that it was as low barrier to access as possible. And they've done all of those things so far. And even better, they have chosen the Long Center to work as the distributor and the admin of that money. They're a trusted partner of ours, as everybody knows, and a great asset to our city. And so we're really excited about that. And we have heard from the Long Center today, and they feel really confident that they're going to be able to turn around this money as soon as the City of Austin puts it in the bank for them. Money will begin to go out to venues really soon. Applications open for that tomorrow. You can grab the over to the longcenter.org/SaveAustinVenues to find out what you're going to need in order to apply. And I believe it's going to go live tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say real quick that, you know, this happened because musicians and industry workers and venue owners, we all showed up to speak up and put the pressure on to make sure this money, you know, got to venues in a timely manner. And so I'm just so proud of everyone involved. I'm proud of, you know, our audience. I'm proud of the city leaders for listening to us. And on that note, you know, I want to say that, you know, it helps, obviously, to stay involved on the local level and on the federal level. And we have a very special friend here today who's going to help us a little more in that regard.
That's absolutely right. Well, thank you so much for bringing me on, and thank you to Representative Lloyd Doggett for joining us.
It's great to join you. Thanks very much. I guess this is my third virtual performance. So what I lack in musical talent, I'll try to make up, I hope, with a little insight on some of these issues. And, you know, what you just announced, and as Pat was saying, everybody pulling together here really shows what a difference involvement in our city and our country can make. And congratulations on that. I know it's not as much as is needed, but it is a great first start on this. And you'll be doing more work next year. And if we can make more headway on the state and city assistance from the federal level, they would have the capacity to do even more. One of the big issues we have up here. So I like talking to Austin, Texas Musicians, the official organization, because the music industry, the musicians are so much about what keeps Austin weird and a wonderful place to be in. I look forward to hearing from Workforce Solutions on what's being done on job training, which is so important. I guess the last time that we spoke, we were in this struggle to save American democracy, and we won. And with the victory of the Biden-Harris administration soon to come, not soon enough, I think, at least for now, though our democracy is vulnerable, and we saw how vulnerable, we've kept ourselves from falling into the abyss of tyranny.
Well, and a big part of that, right, is because of so many people around the country who are not just musicians and music people organizing, but thousands and thousands of people organizing in their communities.
That's
to
right.
Get the vote out and get the facts out and get the truth out to our communities. And so I think it's more valuable than ever for the community organizations and the stakeholders who are actually living and breathing what's going on to get involved.
Absolutely. And it made a difference all over the country. I hope it's still happening in Georgia. That's pretty important. But I will pause there just to say a reminder, because you've talked about city council action. There are two very important city council runoff elections going on right now. I think this is about the last time to vote early this week, and then the election is next week on the 15th. And so it's really important to participate. If you live in those areas in West and Northwest Austin, really make a point of participating, because there's still work to do, and you'll be back in front of the city council next year, and they need to hear from the voters.
Well, and they will, and we'll have Scott Strickland on after you. Scott, of course, is our ATXM votes leader, and he'll be talking a little bit about that, as well as the unemployment issue. Can you share an update on negotiations in Congress on a stimulus deal to kind of provide this long overdue pandemic relief?
Yes, I wish I had a more definitive answer on this. I've been on a call just this morning about this, because I know that there are still so many people out there that are just struggling to get by. Our venues certainly, but individual people who are active in the music industry have probably been impacted, going all the way back to the closure on South by last year in a big way. And we also know that, unfortunately, what Texas is becoming number one in is COVID infections, and the number of infections, the number of deaths that are occurring in a bleak winter doesn't suggest many people will be out to hear live music. And so we've got to come through with some relief. I do want to mention, I'm going to get to your question, but before I forget it, or before anybody else forgets it, I expect most everybody on this call knows about HAM, knows about the enrollment that's coming up on healthcare. But your last chance is the same day as the city council election next week, December 15th. That's the last time to enroll. It is so easy to turn to HAM virtually, to turn to foundation communities. Don't miss this chance, even if you're out there wondering how you're going to find the food for tomorrow. Most of the opportunities here can involve no premium health insurance coverage. It's really important to do that.
That's right. The city of Austin is voting today to ratify a contract with HAM to reallocate some of their CARES funding, $500,000 of it, to HAM to pay musicians premiums. So if you're watching this and maybe you thought you didn't qualify for HAM, or maybe you just found out that you need HAM, go to myham.org right now. They've only got about 300 appointments left. And when the money for that is gone, it's gone.
Oh, that's really a critical point. And, waiting until the very last minute, they're going to be overwhelmed with last minute applications. So this is a good weekend project.
That's right. And if you're an ATXM Pro member, you don't have to prove you're a musician. We already did that for you.
Fantastic. More good work at the city level. Another reminder about the importance of that runoff. But get the coverage while you can get it in the midst of the pandemic. But what about Washington? What kind of relief can we expect?
Right.
Just a reminder about how we got to where we are. And we discussed this in our two prior gatherings. May the 15th, 6 months ago, the House passed a broad measure of relief, would have extended at the $600 a week level the pandemic emergency unemployment, would have provided another $1,200 stimulus check, would have done so much to help opening of schools, child care, first responder assistance, essential workers. It took until the end of July, after Texas Workforce Commission had sent out the last pandemic emergency relief checks, before Mitch McConnell would even talk to us about it. At that point, they put out what seemed to be a modest bill that they couldn't get the support of a number of Republicans in the Senate who wouldn't vote for anything. Then, as time passed, instead of moving toward the middle, McConnell reduced the amount of the Republican bill. We came out with another bill, slimmed down a little bit in October, still nothing in terms of a real response, still contending that this wasn't that big a problem and that we could do this for a small amount of money and not do the unemployment assistance. As recently as this morning, as I visited with the speaker and with colleagues, the future of these negotiations is unclear. We have now recessed until next Tuesday evening, hoping that by then a bill can be negotiated. It is hopeful that some Republicans from the Senate and the House have joined together to advance a proposal that President Trump is saying he's for taking some action here. But the action he's taking, so often you hear about the bottom line dollar figures of the bill. He has now said that he's for the relief check, or the suffering check, the one-time check that will go out to everyone, but he's not for the unemployment extension. The folks that have been offering this bipartisan proposal are for some unemployment relief at a lower level, but they're not for the stimulus or suffering check. So we face a big challenge here as to whether we can bring it all together. People are talking. That's good. That's what should have happened in June instead of waiting until December. I don't think we can permit Congress to recess for Christmas until this job gets done, but we just need to keep the pressure on. And even though calls to our senators haven't been very successful in the past, keep making them and asking them what they're doing to get us relief before we have unemployment expire the day after Christmas, and for other people on New Year's Eve.
Sure.
So we got to do this.
So what do you feel like then is the real impact on Texans currently receiving unemployment assistance through the CARES Act if Congress can't reach a deal to extend unemployment benefits?
Well, I think failure to come up with a further relief package would just prolong the pain of this crisis, certainly for the individuals that are affected on unemployment, but for our whole economy. It's going to, and that's why even the Republican head of the Federal Reserve Board has been encouraging action on this. The estimate that I saw predicted that over 775,000 Texans will be cut off of unemployment assistance without the Congress acting before Christmas. Just to be specific about the cutoff, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program established about a 39-week unemployment benefit for contractors and gig workers, including, of course, most people in the music industry. And that expires at the end of the year. And because the Workforce Commission pays out those benefits weekly, they've already announced that if we don't get congressional action, the last check is going out December the 26th, the day after Christmas.
Wow.
And then, so that's really soon. And then, it's hardly the Christmas spirit. It is a question of, will Mitch McConnell still be the Grinch who literally stole Christmas and justified his Grim Reaper name that he's applied? And then that second,
it's really bad.
It is really bad. And Nakia, you're pretty familiar with this, but the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, a mouthful, that is the other provision in the CARES Act, it extended unemployment benefits an additional 13 weeks. And that's important here in Texas, where the normal maximum is 26 weeks. If you're one of the folks who lost out back in March or April, time's up. And that program is also going to end on December 31st. So,
and again, folks like musicians, right, who they have to make really hard decisions about whether they're going to pay their rent or their premiums for healthcare, all of these things. And again, another opportunity here to remind you, you can get your healthcare premiums paid for through a grant from CARES right now, from the Federal CARES Act, if you go right now to myham.org and sign up if you're a musician who needs insurance. Congressman, so what then, you were talking about the Grinch and you know, the Grim Reaper, but you know, at the same time, we also know that Governor Abbott is sitting still on CARES Act funding.
Absolutely.
Do you know the status of that, or can anybody understand why he wouldn't spend it?
Well, I began asking him that question on May the 13th because Republicans at that point were objecting to our bill that we approved in the House May 15th on the basis that the governor still had money they hadn't spent. So why should we send any more federal money? While there's a certain semblance of reason to that, I've been trying to find out, well, Governor, how much money have you got left and what are you doing with it? And I find it incredible that we could be here in the Christmas season. And what's really happening is the same thing that has happened in the past when we send federal money without proper limitation. And that is, he's basically saving it to use to try to plug holes in the state budget so that it'll be politically easier when the legislature convenes in January. And these are dollars we intended to help people. That the whole goal was to give the states some discretion, just as we gave the cities and the counties some discretion as to how they use the money. Instead, he has hoarded the money at a time that there is great need out there. If it were possible, I'd give all the money directly to the local governments.
Yeah.
And what we're competing with, frankly, is that, it's a different situation in New York and California and some other states where you have more responsible governors and state governments. But all of us who are stuck with people like Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick, we're in a quandary right now because we know the federal dollars were sent here, but they got stopped at the Capitol.
The last thing that I wanted to ask you about, it wasn't really on our questions, but since we're talking about Governor Abbott and Dan Patrick, what is going on with this lawsuit from I mean,
well, I tell you what,
rumors that it's his way of trying to pay for a pardon. And
that's what I was going to say to all those people who say that the lawsuit that Paxton has filed, that Trump has now just joined, is crazy. They are wrong because it is a pardon application, and it makes perfect sense. If you've had all your top aides quit and say you were a crook and you're being investigated by the FBI, why not join the rogues gallery of Trump people that he's pardoned? And he will, it's a steady pardon period. I expect his idea of the Christmas spirit is to hand out more pardons sometime around the holidays. So big problem. I do want, before we close, to mention the music venue, since that's where you started out with success, because Save Our Stages, that's another one of these really unusual situations. We've got Save Our Stages into our October bill that we passed. And I remember seeing my colleague Roger Williams out at the Spoke bragging about it. He was an author. I joined it. And I think John Cornyn supported in the Senate. But Roger Williams voted against the bill we had that had Save Our Stages in it. I still think there's a chance that it could be included. It's been mentioned in this bipartisan bill that has come out. And I believe it's really important to incorporate Save Our Stages into this, as well as the Restaurant Act, since we've seen so many landmarks closed. We're trying to get both of them in there.
And, that's something interesting, too. Even with this new live music venue saves money from the city of Austin, there's a lot of restaurants in town that have live music that don't qualify for this because they're a restaurant that has live music. So they also need support as well. And many of our musician friends and family work at these restaurants to make money. So, I did want to mention, I always love to shine a light on our local folks. And of course, Home, that is housing opportunities for musicians and entertainers here in Austin, has been doing a great job of helping musicians over 55 with COVID-19 grants pay their rent and their leases right now. So if you are a musician over the age of 55 or an entertainer over the age of 55, go to homeaustin.org. They've got some money that you can apply for to pay for your rent as well. And of course, you can go to the city's website. The city has a lot of these resources listed there as well. And then on our Austin, Texas musicians.org, you can click the COVID-19 button there, and it'll take you to some resources provided by our friends at the Recording Academy. Congressman, thank you so much for being back with us again. And, I said this prior to hopping on, but thank you again for submitting me for whether or not there is an inauguration, submitting me as a possible performer at the inauguration. An honor.
You'd be great, especially with the new music that you provided me, which I really enjoyed.
The song that I wrote with Charlie Cotton, the 8-year-old son, Savannah.
Let me close it on 2 points. One is, while we don't have clear news today, please be assured that I'm going to stick on it. There are a lot of people that are working that know how desperate the situation is, and we're trying to get delivery of this as soon as possible. And then, as you've continued to do, count on my office as a resource as we navigate through unemployment. We still have people that are trying to get their first check, not just their last check.
Yeah.
And now this week, I've heard, and Sarah, who works with my office, who's worked with you all so much.
Sarah, she's our DC rep.
That's right. She's a performer herself. She understands this. We've been hearing about people who call, and TWC has contracted out some of this. And so they're contracting out their phone operations. You wait and you wait and you wait, and then you get referred, and then nothing happens. Your call gets dropped. So we've been able to cut through that for some people. Let us know if we need to help you. We're going to be there and be partners, and a better year lies ahead. Thank you.
Too late.
That's so true. Congressman, thank you so much. It's always an honor, and we're so humbled that you take the time, to listen to what our community needs, and also to participate and show up and respond. It's so important that we educate our musicians about what's going on the federal level, and you always come through for us. So we're so appreciative.
Thanks. I just look forward to that day, whether it's mask to mask or we're out listening to live music again and sharing the joy. Best wishes for safe, healthy, masked holidays and a better year ahead. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
Awesome. And this is great information, Nakia. I'm so glad we're getting these updates today from Congressman. And when we talk about really how the pandemic has affected our musicians, and we're hearing from so many of them in the comments here, how do we there's a lot of stories that need to be told, because we're all experiencing this in a different way, and in a very sort of vital way. And so I want to take a moment now to pause and to hear from you, and to also hear from our ATXM Votes team lead, Scott Strickland. Scott, good morning.
Hey, Scott. Well, for me, I mean, I have been receiving for the first time in my life unemployment, and it was not something that I expected. I would not have been able to do that had Valissa Chapa from TWC not, come on the show and explain how to navigate all of that craziness. But I've been notified that my, it's going away, that this will be my last time to get a check. And, the amount of money has already also been decreased because of the lack of action from Congress. So it's really, really unfortunate. It does sometimes mean, the difference about what what I can pay at the end of each month, whether or not I'm going to pay a credit card off in full, or if I'm going to, all of those things. I'm very fortunate that my husband has a full-time job, and we have benefits through him now. So I no longer have to utilize that portion of HAM. But I also want to remind people who are watching again, HAM does so much more than just pay your premium. So, they have, if you need help in anything related to your healthcare or assistance in any way, you can always reach out to their navigators, and they'll be happy to help you figure out where you need to go. Right. And that's one of the really good benefits about that full-time team, and they're set up virtually ready to go. Scott, what about you? How has this affected you and as far as the pandemic?
Well, so I want to take a second and pivot a little bit away from me, because I feel like I've done a lot of talking about me this year and how I've been affected by it. It's just a little quick thing. It's been challenging. It's been empowering. It's definitely been something that this year's definitely been one for the books in terms of that stuff. Musicians, contract workers, gig workers, artists all over this country right now, we can't get anything done. And I also want to thank Lloyd Doggett for what he said, and for the news that and the information that he brought in. I do also want to say that there are opportunities out there for musicians to get some of the help that they need. And I don't know, Pat, if you can do this, and I'm kind of pulling a few audibles here, but if there's a musician out there that needs help with unemployment assistance, or if you need help with that stuff at all, please email me personally, scott@scottstricklandband.com. We will get you in touch with Valissa Chapa. She is incredible. She is amazing. She responds to every single email that I have within probably an hour. I mean, I'm telling you, she is on point. And also, I've helped I'm not going to say I've helped a few musicians, but I've referred them to Valissa, and she's been able to get them back pay since March. So that's awesome. Also, if you are an ATXM member, sign up for health insurance through HAM. I'm saying this and I'm announcing it right now. I got HAM coverage. I have HAM coverage as of right now. So, and it was a pretty simple process. I mean, it took a few little tricks and stuff to get the ball rolling. We had to get involved, but it got it. We got it working, and it took an hour. This morning it took an hour. I officially have HAM coverage. So it's incredible. It's awesome. They know they exchange. They have all this. They have all this information. They're amazing. Yes, Pat.
We've got 2 HAM members right here, and I can tell you guys, HAM literally saved my life this year. I had, as you guys know, I had some liver issues return with my transplant. I was in and out of surgeries for about 6-7 weeks. And if it wasn't for HAM, I don't know how I would have gotten through it. So it's been amazing. Scott, I want to comment too that, Valissa and Workforce Solutions have been just so incredibly helpful this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
She kind of came into the picture when we realized that we weren't able to connect. We were hearing that musicians were having a lot of problems accessing Workforce Solutions, and obviously their call centers were overloaded when this thing began.
Sure.
But we found in Valissa an ally to really kind of skip ahead of the lines, if you will, and cut through some of that red tape. And she's gotten so many of our musicians connected to the benefits they needed. I just helped someone just the other week out of our group connect to Valissa, who she was not having.
I love that.
Any luck getting benefits.
It's impossible. It's impossible to get through to them.
It's strange. It's a hard system to navigate. We're really, really grateful for that relationship. And I'm grateful for y'all having me on today. I know we've got to get to Robin.
Yes.
I'm gonna step out and let you guys do that. Thank you so much again for having me, and thank you to Representative Doggett for joining me.
Thank you.
Yes, and so we're bringing in a new ally, Robin Spillman, ENT Community Coordinator for Workforce Solutions. Hi, Robin. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm doing well. I'm doing really, really good. Thank you so much for being here. I love getting to meet new people and to just be in awe and slightly intimidated by some of the knowledge of that you have, that Melissa has. And I'm so grateful for you being here today. So thank you so very much. So I got a few questions here. ATXM, we've been honored to partner with Workforce Solutions throughout this pandemic to bring resources to the community. For those who don't know, can you just share a little bit about how Workforce Solutions serves Austin, Texas musicians?
Sure. So first I'll say I am equally as excited to meet you. It feels like I haven't been out of the house in months because I haven't. And so I'm really excited just to see a new face. So thank you again for having me. So Workforce Solutions is one of 28 workforce development boards in the state of Texas. We are governed by the Texas Workforce Commission. So we are a local nonprofit with the mission to connect local people to local jobs. That's our whole mission. So we do that through helping job seekers prepare to enter into the workforce or increase existing skills through job training, career advancement in the form of upskilling, career counseling, and of course, the many relationships we have with local employers that we can connect job seekers to those jobs directly.
Okay, excellent. And so there's this new program that you have, I believe it's called Rework. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that for a second?
Sure. So in response to the economic downturn brought on by the horrible pandemic this year, Workforce Solutions officially launched Rework Now Austin in partnership with the City of Austin and Travis County. Really, it's a component or a phase of the Master Community Workforce Plan launched back in 2017 with the goal of helping 10,000 individuals out of poverty. And so Rework Now specifically, it's a rapid training initiative that provides people living here in Austin or Travis County with access to no cost, virtual, safe job training in industries like healthcare, IT, advanced manufacturing, skilled trades. So trainings span anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. And the funding that we've received is to assist those living here in Austin that have been economically impacted by COVID-19. So in looking at eligibility, it's essentially a qualification of low income, which is individuals at or below 200% of the federal poverty income guidelines. And so if you're looking at a single person on their own, that's like $25,000 and some change annually. And so it's essentially proof of low income, or that you've received unemployment insurance after March 1st of this year, and a self-declaration that your ability to stay employed or to find a better job has been impacted by COVID-19.
Okay.
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so essentially, if you're someone that suffered job loss or maybe your hours have been cut this year, it's very likely that you may qualify for Rework Now. And so for this audience, I would say, with the understanding that, being a musician is what you love and will likely want to return back to after we've gotten over this hurdle of COVID-19, Rework Now really could be a good way to bridge the gap in the meantime, learn a new trade, learn new skills, and bring in some income, like Pat said, until our economy has returned to some sense of normalcy.
Absolutely. And there's a rapid training part of that too,
Yep.
right? Can you explain
Yep.
just a tidbit about like what that rapid training portion is?
Sure. And so the whole program is based on offering short-term rapid training. And so, like I said, the trainings are anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks, with the idea of helping individuals gain those skills quickly so they can find jobs quickly.
Okay, gotcha. So the rapid training is the 4 to 12 week period.
Yep.
Is that your type?
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Okay, and musicians are struggling to pay bills right now. Everything helps. There is there like a financial stipend? Like if you go through that 4 to 12 weeks, is there like you get paid, compensated for actually doing that training?
Sure. So there sure is. There's a weekly stipend in the amount of $200 and that's weekly, assuming that you are meeting the attendance expectations of the training provider that you have chosen.
Okay, gotcha. And that, I guess the hours vary,
Right.
depending on the employer, basically, right?
Right. And so, excuse me, I can talk a little bit more about kind of the industries that someone can expect
I
to.
would
Sure.
love to. Yes, please. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. So, as I mentioned before, the industries are primarily healthcare, IT, advanced manufacturing, and skilled trades. So, through our research, we know and we have determined that these are industry sectors that have proven to be COVID resilient. They were in demand before the pandemic and are still very much in demand. And so we know that there are good paying jobs in these fields, and we have training to put job seekers into these jobs quickly. And so, as we mentioned, the training is 4 to 12 weeks. So someone can get through training and advance on in their new career as soon as possible.
Excellent. And what are some of the other benefits to being involved with Workforce Solutions? I mean,
Sure.
I have here like gas cards, bus
Sure.
pass, childcare. You could rental assistance, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So in addition to the stipend that we mentioned, that $200 a week, our team at Workforce Solutions can also help out with other supportive services. So things like childcare, digital assistance, or digital access in the form of a laptop. We can provide you with a laptop. Transportation assistance that usually looks like gas cards or bus passes, and even rental assistance. And so I'm thinking back to a few days ago, I know we helped someone that was attending one of our Rework Now trainings. Unfortunately, their car had been impounded, and we helped them get their car out of impound so they could resume training. And there's just so many barriers that people are facing right now.
Sure.
And those barriers have only been compounded because of the pandemic. And so what would happen is a case manager would assess someone's individual needs as they show an interest or complete the eligibility process for Rework Now. And then that case manager would go from there as far as hooking that person up with the supportive services we have. But the funding is there. We want to help. And so anyone that enrolls in Rework Now and goes through a training, we have supportive services readily available to help you.
Excellent. And how can we sign up for that if we feel so inclined to do so?
Sure. So the best way to get started is to visit reworknow.org /Austin. And so here you'll answer a few questions and be connected to a member of the Workforce Solutions team, and they will guide you through enrollment in the program and help you choose the training option that's right for you. I'd also like to just mention that if you go to Workforce Solution capital area, our website, which is www.wfscapitalarea.com, if you go to the Our Services drop down and click on the Jobs Now icon, you'll find positions for companies that are hiring immediately, like they need someone today. And that job board is updated daily.
Nice. Okay, that is excellent information there. And I mean, just to ask, I don't know if this is right or not, but you all with the workforce, like the job search requirements in terms of unemployment, does Workforce Solutions handle that, or is that handled by the unemployment office itself?
So I don't want to answer that because I personally don't know.
Okay, gotcha.
I would hate to give out incorrect information, but I'm more than happy to follow up on that and get back to you with an answer.
Okay, fantastic. So the only reason why I'm asking is because I am on unemployment myself. And I've been on unemployment, since March. And one of the things now with the new stipulations with the workforce requirements is that you have to have 3 job entries, and they do check. I was thinking, you know what? I mean, I was doing it right and everything, and applying for jobs or whatnot. But like, I'm they're It seems to be like, I don't know how they do it, but they are amazing at what they do. They're like, hey, we need your stuff. You said you look for 3 jobs, right? Where are your jobs that you actually looked for? And I'm thinking, there's millions of people. How do they know that it's just me? I don't know. But
yeah. And so the workforce solutions offices, we don't oversee the actual unemployment benefits. That is still through the Texas Workforce Commission. So your best bet, and I know as we mentioned, it's an arduous process, but would be to reach out to them, or even the contact that you mentioned before. She could give you some really good specifics around that.
Yes. But I mean but if we were to search for a job within Workforce Solutions, that counts as a job within, because that's what I was getting at, because you can't just like go to like Indeed or whatever and look for a job. You have to like go through, I guess one of these portals that is partnered with the Texas Workforce Commission in order to actually get credit for looking for a job. Or like, I mean, if you find something outside, then break your off unemployment. But if you're actively searching, they have to know that you're actively searching, basically. What I understand. Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. This is very, very. I feel like I just got injected with knowledge right in the neck. This is awesome.
Let me
Thank
throw
you.
And I want to add too that we've been so honored to partner with Workforce Solutions for many months now in really getting these tailored job lists to our Austin, Texas musicians. So each week or every other week we're seeing new job listings specifically for our musicians and for work from home positions. So we're so thankful and so honored to work with you guys on that. And I wanted to close out the show. I see Representative Doggett is still got his camera here, and I'll add him back in if you don't mind, Representative. And I'll just close out the show real quick. And with this is something we often do with our musicians advisory panel members.
Come back quickly.
And I just wanted to sorry to surprise you like that, Representative.
Putting me back on, and I don't know how to get there. I can hear him. I can't get on.
The Congressman's wearing his ham shirt. He's wearing a ham shirt. I just want to make that clear.
Representing him.
Yeah, he's wearing a ham shirt. We appreciate the Congressman Doggett.
So sorry to surprise you like that. I just simply wanted to close out the show and thank everyone. But this is something that we often do with our musicians advisory panel every week. And I wanted to take a moment to do a little personal check-in with everyone. And, when we spend so much time helping people in our community, it's really difficult oftentimes to, get the help that we need. And I know specifically Robin, Scott, Congressman, you guys have been working so hard in the community to help everyone. And oftentimes we don't really get the help that we all need. So if I can take one moment as we close out the show and just go around the room and maybe do a little mental health check with everyone. Let's all talk about how we are feeling at the end of this year and what we'd like to see happen, maybe what our hopes are for the new year. And I'll start with Representative Doggett, since I so rudely put him on.
I had a few technical difficulties getting back in here.
Sure.
Am I reverberating across the room?
Oh, just a little bit. Yeah. I think I must have you open on 2 windows, but you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to hear Robin's presentation. As I did a little work on the side, it was very helpful to hear, and thanks for all you're doing there and what Scott said. I guess, my hope is that with the vaccine, that first that everyone will realize once we've gotten it through the science that the politics is over and there's good reason to get immunized, that we're back to where we can engage, even if it's still with some mask and distancing, but where we can be back together again, because it has put such a strain on everyone. I'm accustomed to being out at everything and working with community groups like this. here and in San Antonio and San Marcos, and to do it all from the office has been a challenge. So my hope for the new year is that, and that we can somehow find a way to bridge the divide that is out there and get behind our new president in uniting as much of the country as we can and beginning to address some of these huge existential challenges we face, like the climate crisis and all of the issues that he talked about in the campaign. Here's an opportunity to just not get back where we were, but to move forward in a united way to address the real challenges we face beyond the pandemic. So thanks very much. I've learned a lot from listening to Robin and Scott and to all of you, and we want to be there to keep backing you up.
Congressman, before you go, I mean, you've been so tireless in this community. I've seen you working for decades in this community, without, ever, your energy is just boundless, it seems. I know this year has been hard on everyone. How are you feeling? How are you holding up, at the end of the year? I think we're all sharing this feeling of exhaustion. I don't know how you must be feeling after all the work you've been doing.
Well, I'm really feeling great. I'm concerned. I just, in the course of this program, got another message that we might have to go beyond December 18th. I hope that's being held out there. There have been a time in the history of the Congress where we were there the week after Christmas. If that's what it takes, let's do it. But personally, it's a little concerning on the air transportation back and forth because airports are still so crowded at holiday times. But I have wonderful support from family and a great staff here in DC and in San Antonio and Austin, and just working together. I feel really fortunate, even in the midst of this pandemic, to be able to voice our shared values up there in Washington and keep the struggle going. I'm hopeful about where we're headed.
Well, you're always so, your energy, I think, has always been inspiring to all of us. And so we're just so grateful and truly humbled to have you here today and in the future, obviously. So thank
you, Pat. Thank you, Scott, Robin, Nakia. This is really important.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you, Congressman.
Good to see
you. See you soon. And I'll remove you. I won't surprise you again. But
surprises.
Yeah,
I'm not as technically adept as I am musically adept, but Libby helped me out here a little bit.
I'm learning too. And thank you to your wife for that as well. And have a great day and happy holidays to you. We'll continue to go around the room.
Thanks. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you, Congressman. Robin, if you will, just check in with us and tell us how you're feeling and maybe what you're hoping for in the new year.
That is a very loaded question.
Yeah, it really is. It's a last minute idea, so I'm sorry to surprise everyone with.
No, it's just it's been a long year. It's felt like 5 years crammed into one. Honestly, like everyone else, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But like the Congressman said, I'm hopeful that 2021 will bring brighter days ahead, and I'm anxiously awaiting, more news about the vaccine available, and just plugging forward. That's all we can really do. And I'm grateful to, work at an organization that genuinely wants to better the lives of those living here in Austin, and provide a path out of poverty through a good paying job. And so my hope is that anyone here on the call, if you are struggling, if you've been laid off or your hours have been reduced, please visit the Rework Now site and check it out and look at some of the trainings that are available. I didn't specifically mention the trainings, but I do want to throw some of them out there just in case they perk up the ears. So the trainings are, and there's more, but full stack Java software development, digital marketing, cybersecurity, a certification in the Adobe suite, there's a lot of great jobs in that. Data analytics, medical security and bookkeeping, phlebotomy is always in demand, HVAC technician, welding, truck driving. So those are just some of the trainings that are available. And like we talked about, they're short term and pay a good wage. And so please check out the Rework Now site and 2021 is going to be better one way or another. So I'm choosing to believe that.
Absolutely true.
Thank you all
Yeah.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Robin. We're so honored to continue this partnership with Workforce Solutions. You guys really have gone above and beyond in serving our music community. So we
We're
appreciate
grateful
it,
for you all.
and we're looking forward to working with you in the new year.
Thank you. Music is
Thank
keeping
you,
us
Robin.
safe. Thank you.
Thanks. Happy holidays. And Scott, as we wrap up today, I just want to take a second to check in with you and see how you're feeling and what your hopes are for the new year.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I hope that you don't fire me for it. But I feel like I feel like this is a collective thinking process that I think we're all going through. 2020 has been a kick in the balls for everybody, whether you have balls or not. It's just been terrible. And
Yeah.
you know, I am very hopeful for the vaccine. I think everyone that I've talked to is hopeful for the vaccine. We have to be vigilant. We have to continue doing what we're doing as far as social distancing and wearing masks. And it seems like shows are happening all over Austin, or you know, I mean, in at least some group, some way, shape, or form. So if you're doing that, you know, please be safe. Please social distance. Please wear a mask. Do not be tempted by, you know, the alcohol and all that stuff and get all crazy and stuff, because that's how you know, this thing continues to spike out of control. I am hopeful for myself that you know, that things will be better. I think it's going to be a little bit longer. You know, I don't think, you know, someone's going to come in and just wave a wand and then everything that happened in 2020 is going to go away. It's going to be a long recovery process.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of pivoting with musicians. I think there's going to be a lot of pivoting with all kinds of artists, because we're still, you know, once the vaccine's here, we have to actually take the vaccine. In order for it to be effective, I think it's 70% of the population has to have it. So we have to continue to be vigilant. We have to continue to listen to, you know, the information that is out there that is true and that is that is fair, that is right. And I do want to say one thing here. My friend Theodore Flores, I don't know if you're friends with him, but he's a musician in Austin, and I don't know if he's part of the ATXM community or not, but he has been on a ventilator with COVID for the last few days, and I'm trying to figure out what we can do for him. But you know, he is in my prayers, he's in my thoughts, and I am so sorry that him and his family are going through this right now. Huge loving family that he has, and you know, he is, you know, currently struggling on a ventilator right now with COVID-19. So please take this seriously. Just, you know, take this seriously. Stay vigilant, and we'll get through this. And hopefully Congress does something by the end of the year. If they don't, I mean, if they leave us out in the cold, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sorry, pretty grim, but you know, that's where I'm at. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
How are you doing, Pat?
You know, I'm good. You know, it's on top of a pandemic. I had to deal with 4 surgeries in 6 weeks.
You sure did, and you worked through it. You did not take a break. I want to let everyone know that you worked your ass off through all of those surgeries. I think you even you were emailing me. I swear to God, I think you were on the operating table. I really think you were before you went under. You sent something out to me and was like, "Hey, will you do this and make sure it gets done?" And then they put you under.
Yeah, there's no.
And then you woke up and it was more stuff. So I'm sorry to take
no.
That, but please continue.
No, it's true, and you know, it was an exercise again in mental toughness to just get through that. And you know, I had these, as you know, I had, you know, these large tubes sticking out of my liver for about 2 months, which was pretty painful and pretty intense. They're out now, and I'm feeling much better. You know, I guess this is illustrative of just what I'd like to see to everybody today, that, you know, this year, you know, has been God, we're all so sick of this word, unprecedented, right? But it has been. But in my life, I suffered from liver disease for decades until I finally had a liver transplant 9 years ago.
Mhm.
And so I've seen, in my own life, I've seen how bad things can get, and then how good things can get. And I'm living with purpose now, and I'm doing the best work I could ever. Once I got off that operating table 9 years ago, I knew I wanted to pay it back, and here we are doing the most profound work that we could ever imagine possible. And so, there are always going to be dark times, but then there's always going to be better times. That is just the cycle of life, and that is what we're all going to go through together. And when I was working with the KVU newsroom years ago, our president and general manager, Patty Smith, she was fantastic, and she always had this phrase that she said that stuck with me all these years, and it's this one: adversity does not define character. Adversity reveals character. And so we all have a choice to make. As bad as things get and as dark as these times get, we can all choose how we process that and what our future is. And I know that's real easy to say when we're all sort of suffering right now, and we're jobless and facing a loss of income and all these really serious things. But we just have to look on the bright side of things and stay positive. And again, I feel even sick just saying those words, but it's so true. We have a choice to make. Things are going to get better. And I think, as the year closes out, we can take some time to reflect on, how crazy this year has been, but all the great things have happened. Look at us, we're organized in a way, musicians are organized in this city in a way that they've never been before, and we've showed up to make amazing things happen. Just in the time that Austin, Texas Musicians has been up and running, we've got the Live Music Fund on the table. We got the Austin Musicians Disaster Relief Fund out the door. And now we have the SAVES grants up and running to help save venues. You yourself up our voting team to register over 700 new voters in Travis County. And that's amazing stuff. That never would have happened maybe if we hadn't have been in the middle of this crazy pandemic. Forced us all to double down and to really, give back in ways we never thought possible.
Absolutely.
I think we're connected.
Yes, and just real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Shaka and Mobley as well for the Black Lives Music Fund, the Dawa Initiative, all of those things. They are doing some incredible work too,
Absolutely.
and they don't get enough credit. And I just want to say to them right now, thank you both so much for the work that you do, and hopefully we get to work together on getting more initiatives through the door soon.
I absolutely agree. Yesterday I completed a 3-day workshop with the city's equity office to do training around undoing racism. Just getting a real knowledge and a real history of how this country was founded on these, real problems and problematic areas and what we can do now to fix it. So I see leaders like Shaka and Mobley in the community who are doing amazing work, to make sure that when the lights do come back on, it's a different landscape than what we don't have to
different
things were before for this music community, because it was a very flawed system. So I'm hopeful, and
I'm very hopeful too.
If I can leave our audience with anything today, it's simply that we create the future that we want to create. That's why we're here together doing this work. So
absolutely.
Love you, brother, and happy holidays to you.
I love you too, Pat. You're such a shaman. You're incredible, man. You're great.
I'm only as good as the people who lift me up. And when Gwen and I were walking downtown last Friday night to get some exercise, and I was like, is that Scott? I can't tell behind the mask. Hugging you and It was like the most uplifting thing that's happened to me in weeks and months. So
yeah, it's it was definitely good seeing a familiar face, even if it was just half of a face, for a little bit there. And I don't know, just to be able to get out and remind people that even though we're busking, and like me and Scott Collins were busking in the street, and a few other musicians are also participating in this with the Austin Downtown Alliance. That we're reminding people that we're still here. And live music is going to come back, and when it does, we're gonna party like it's 1999.
Absolutely.
Until then, we got to stay safe.
Well, and just and to wrap up and talk about some of the wonderful things that are happening during the holidays. We have partnered with a restaurant group at the Boat in Astera Properties. They're doing a 30 Days of Giving concert series at the Little Longhorn Saloon, and they are raising money for what we're calling the ATXM Outer Limits Fund. We haven't pushed out a ton of social on this yet because we're kind of waiting to see how much money comes in. Mm-hmm. But for all the musicians out there listening who weren't eligible for those Austin grant programs this summer because you live just outside of the council districts, this fundraising effort is for you. Okay, so we're projected to raise, well, I don't want to promise anything until we have it, but we're hoping to raise a large amount of money to give out to those musicians who live outside of council districts and were ineligible for all those city grant programs this summer. So that's a great thing going on. We have some other efforts going on to give back to the community. And I see a question here about the rework training opportunities. Listen, we're going to post all those links in the comments section so you can easily click through and find those very simply. So we'll make sure to do that right after we get off the broadcast here. And then I see our great friend Hannah Barakat has posted another opportunity to get some meals. So check the comments in the live stream, and we'll make sure you guys get all the information you need about everything we've been talking today. In the meantime, everyone stay safe, and ATXM will continue to serve you in every way we can this next year. We want to hear from you. What does that look like for you? How can we best serve you? Scott, any closing thoughts?
I also want to say that, even if you are, full-time and employed, you're probably going through it. Or if you, maybe aren't guaranteed full-time work, your hours have been cut in half or whatever the case may be. I just want to say, hang on, just hang in there. Yep. Know that there's a higher power out there that's got your back. We're gonna pull through this. But we have to stay vigilant, and we have to just do everything that we can to love one another, everything that we can to be there for one another, everything that we can to get through this, because we are all in this together.
Absolutely, Scott. Thank you. And thank you again to Nikia Reynoso, our president, and Robin Spillman from Texas Workforce Solutions, and to Congressman Lloyd Doggett. You guys have been so generous with your time and with your help today. And thank you to all of you who have worked so hard to make all these efforts successful. I think we've seen when we all come together and work together, amazing things happen. So thanks again. Much love to you all, and happy holidays. We'll see you real soon.
Happy holidays, everybody.